Welcome to the PTTS. Today's date is December 8, 2025. My name is Ning Hong Lam. Okay, today's PTTS sessions video is on second update on Bastard Retributions, Paradox, Incognitos. The first one was just a really quick and rough update, just saying that the idea was really rough at the time, and when it started writing the Bastard Retribution, Paradox, Incognitos. Anyway, it just in the last video I made, I was saying about, dick outbursts on doing the impossible, and supposedly like the other way around, kind of like in a way that it is supposed to be the world is doing the impossible to notice dick, kind of like in a way. So pretty much, it's just saying that, like, is it a crime, to try and like, kind of like in a way, I pretty much is just like, obviously someone who is really kind, like a very kind person and sincere person would say that, dicks are people, dicks are like fighters, who beat up each other for a living, kind of like have to get in fight, or dicks, who have to, constantly stopping people from getting noticed by the world, and stopping people from being liked by the world, or getting noticed by the world, kind of like in a way, and or like fight in general, just beating up each other in the empty-handed combat, or and things like that, those kind of fights is kind of like in a way, a very kind or sincere person would say that, that is kind of like a really hard living, you have to, but like I'm just saying in general, that you have to, be really kind person and sincere person to say that, in a general, kind of like dicks and fighter deserve it, they're just beating up each other all the time, it's like, why have to be sincere and kind to them, kind of like in a way, it's just, so it have to be a person that is really kind and sincere to say these things, it's like, so I'm just saying, but just other people, they're not just gonna stand around, and they're kind of, in a way, they're just gonna bring Dick down, they're not just gonna say, oh yeah, they're just gonna kill each other, they're just gonna beat up each other. They're not gonna just stand around and say that, they're really going against Dick, trying to bring them down. And in a way, the general public saying that, kind of like dicks deserve it. It's just beating up each other. I mean, kind of like in a way, that's not, kind of like in a way, it's like, so pretty much, it's just like, those people who's, bringing dicks down, and saying that dicks deserve it, they're just beating up each other's, and stopping people from getting noticed by the world, and stopping people from being liked by the world and things like that. And kind of like in a way, and people like accuse Dick deserve it. That's what their job. They keep stopping people from getting noticed by the world, and stopping people from being liked by the world and things like that. It's like, and then it's like. So pretty much, like I'm saying that, in probably that's what the general public want, like seeing people who's bring dicks down, kind of like, in a way, the general public would kind of like, dicks deserve it. That's what they get, and kind of like, it's just like, and then where to draw the line? Where is are those people committing crimes is, bringing dicks down, kind of like in a way, kind of like, that's why, it's like, to the point that, where to draw, like, should just go with the general public or go with the laws, kind of like, the laws say it's crime to bring a person down, no matter if they're dicks or not dicks, kind of like, in a way, crime is crime, law is law, kind of like, you bring a person down, doesn't matter if they're dicks or not, it's you committed a crime, it's like, law is law, it's just like, so kind of like in a way, which one would you go with, the general public who hate dicks, or the laws, kind of like in a way, it's like, and who would feel sorry for Dick, they're just bringing, stopping people from getting noticed by the world, stopping people from being liked by the world and beating up each other all the time. It's just like, dicks ask for it, it's just kind of like they deserve it, think kind of like in a way, like that would be like the one side of the argument. The other side the argument would be law is law, you committed a crime against a person, dick or not, you committed a crime, it's like, so kind of like in a way, it's just like you have this general public who's constantly, bringing dicks down, creating problems with the dicks, kind of like in a way. And it's like, where is the law at, It's just like you committed a crime against a person, dick or not, you committed a crime. How could that happen, It's like, pretty much, so, in this story I'm writing, Bastard Retribution, Paradox Incognitos, there's a character, his name is Bastard, and he think that I am Dick, and my surrounding is bringing dicks down, and he wanted to give me a chance to defend myself, pretty much, but it is just very contradicted, kind of like in a way, Dicks and Bastard are enemy, Dick's constantly hunting for Bastard and locked him up in jail, kind of like, so in a way, that's why it's Bastard Retribution, it's like, Bastard, keep getting blamed for all these things that they didn't, kind of like in life, because they're Bastard, kind of like they get blamed all these things, and kind of like in a way, and now, they're getting blamed that burning dicks at stake, and they just like, just want to make a point, they're Bastard, yes, they have these inferior background and things like that, but they don't, Bastard also could have a conscience too, they won't go this far as, burning dick at the stake and things like that, it's like, okay, Paradox is a very devastated situation, and Incognito is like a person doesn't know what's going on and have to put in the sky to hide that. So it is, looking at paradox incognito could argue as very confusing scenarios and things like that. It's, anyway, like it's just because fighters and dicks, like have these motto, like no pain, no gain, and they wanted people to go against them, to create pain to them so they could be strong and things like that. So also there's this confusion also, it's just, that's what dicks want. Dicks and fighters want, they want people to create problems to them. Never, like, anyway, there was this one scene in the story, pretty much, like I'm talking with Baxter and I'm telling, Baxter that I have to keep looking at the clock on the corner, like left hand corner, there's like a little timer clock to make sure that it doesn't pass 15 minutes. So when it get close to 15 minutes, I have to stop the video and start a new video because of the 15-minute limitations that I have to go by, because I still haven't done my phone verification for my YouTube channel. Okay, back to what I'm saying. Pretty much, so in that scene while I was talking with Baxter, and I was just telling Baxter that, I already created the book cover for, kind of like I brainstormed the book cover for this book, it's like, being kind of like I Photoshop myself getting burned on fire, like at the stake, like fire around me and things like that, and then I Photoshop another picture of me, like there's blood coming out of my eyes and my nose and my mouth and ear and all of that, kind of like in a way, my surrounding keep bringing me down, it's just kind of like that, it's just like. Anyway, it is paradox incognitos, which mean it is a very devastated situation, and I'm getting nicknamed as Dick, and supposedly like Bastard is my enemy, and I'm supposed to hunt him down and lock him in jail, but instead he's giving me a chance to defend myself or redeem myself. So kind of like in a way, number one, it is paradox incognito, a very devastated situation. Number two, it is kind of like in a way could argue it's arch enemy who's looked past the arch enemy and giving me a chance of redemption or redemption, or like a chance to defend myself or redemption. Anyway, I have around 10 or more first draft chapters. They're still in first draft, and pretty much, like, but I'm planning to like rewrite them because of like the bad words and profanity, like uses a lot of mama just. Because it's a really devastating situation. Mama just use every bad word I could probably brainstorm of. It's like, okay, so it's getting close to 50 minutes. So I have to stop this video and start a new one because of the 50-minute limitations. So I'm gonna end this video in 3, 2, 1.